Today, everybody get excited. We have some NFL tomorrow. I'm going to tell you our Super Bowl winners as well today. But Blaine, yesterday, Brian Kelly at a press conference, a reporter might as well have started a sporting goods store because it took a lot of balls to say what that report.
So disrespectful.
What happened again?
So disrespectful. So first of all, the guy showed up late. All right, and Brian Kelly said something about, well, how you can say that when you're late? I called him out for being late, and he's like, well, maybe when you win, I'll be on time.
He said that?
Yeah, to him.
Brian Kelly took it in stride.
Get out.
Like, what?
Get out.
I thought Brian Kelly took it in stride. It's part of the job. When you're making $10 million a year, you know what?
That's not.
I would love to make $10 million a year, and that somebody say that. You know what? I'd be like, you know what? You're right. Hold on. Wait 1 second. Let me pull up my app. Oh, my bank account. Wait a minute. Now I remember. How about you show up on time?
Who's your boss? Who's your boss?
All right.
Well, see, that's not his boss.
Get out. You're never going to get anything from me, no interviews or nothing like that. And I'm going to repeatedly go out of my way to make fun of you on a regular basis.
That's too far.
Well,
that's too far.
If they would have beaten Florida State, then you can say that. You can't say that when you just lost to Florida State the way they did. But I think you're saying use the Kenny Powers eastbound and down when he's teaching the PE class. And he's like, all right, if y'all got any questions, I know I played Major League Baseball. And the one kid's like, yeah, my dad said you ruined professional baseball. And he was like, all right, listen, if anybody wants to pick on anybody, that's the guy, because I ain't looking.
Wait, are they really coming out with a new
season of Eastbound and Down?
Are you serious?
I'm so
excited.
excited.
Which would be season what?
3? Doesn't matter. The next
3
one.
or 4? The next.
I think it's season 4. La Fama Blanca, he's back.
La Fama Blanca.
Stevie Janowski is one of the greatest television characters in the history of art and cinema and the theater.
Oh, and fantasy football.
Fantasy football. We have our Fantasy Football Daily Wire draft tonight. Shapiro will be there. Walsh will be there. Huge Ravens fan. Knowles will be there. Hell, Morning Wire's going to be there.
Andrew Clayton.
It's a who's who, and apparently there's going to be a celebrity guest.
Yeah.
We'll see who it is. It's not me.
No.
I don't know if y'all heard, but Crane & Company's going to be there.
Yeah, well,
the biggest stars out of all of them.
Don't get the people freaking out just yet. We don't want this to turn into a Travis Scott concert.
I do.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I want people flying off.
You staying sick of
No.
it. The LA Chargers have all the pieces to win the Super Bowl this season. I'll tell you why. The Florida Gators moved up to 12 in the new AP poll after week 1. And our good friend David Pollack drops by to share his thoughts on the first week of college football and preview week 2. I'm Jake Crane. Welcome to the greatest sports show ever, Crane & Company. When predicting a Super Bowl champion, there are a couple of ingredients that have to be in the mix. The first is legitimately being stable up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. The second is having a quarterback that has the ability to make all the throws, checks, and necessary adjustments against different looks throughout the season. The third is a head coach that has the guts to take calculated risks when the time arises. And finally, you have to have the players that have the capability to make stellar plays in the biggest moments. Now, the Chargers have every one of those ingredients and then some, and that's why they're my pick to win the Super Bowl this year. They added pieces to a defense that ranked last in 2021 in getting off the field on third down by signing Khalil Mack, Sebastian Joseph Day, Austin Johnson, and J.C. Jackson, who had more picks by himself last year than the whole Chargers secondary. Now, with Bosa and Mack on the edges and James and Jackson roaming the secondary, the Chargers defense is going to go from liability to reliability very quickly. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert continues to take steps forward, and in year 2 under Brandon Staley, I expect another big jump and possible MVP run. Austin Eckler returns, who's a huge threat as a runner and receiver out of the backfield, with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams outside. The Chargers will be able to cause more problems than a math book with these guys. Now, PFF ranked them the 3rd best roster in the entire league, and NFL ranked 2022 saw the Chargers lead the NFL with 8 players inside the top 100, like a Bama recruiting class. They play in one of the best divisions we've seen in a while, with the AFC West boasting the Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos, all of which can make the playoffs. Being in this division does mean you will be battle-tested, and the Chargers have all the ingredients to cook up a world championship in 2022. I'm going to bring in my co-host, 6'7", tree of a quarterback from formerly of Michigan, currently of Nashville, David Cohn, and Blaine Crane, my brother, receiver from the western ends of Colorado, the mind of a scientist, the heart of the Tin Man, and the hands of an armless surgeon.
Heart of
An armless surgeon. You know, 2 compliments and just had to end with the
What?
the hands of an armless surgeon.
You can have hands without an arm.
Play receiver.
You can have hands without an arm.
Well, catch with this in Seattle Seahawks. I don't have a left hand situation.
Well, it works on Madden. If you go look at it under that engine. But I guys, I've been calling the Chargers. I've been saying it. Went down and we talked with Phillip Rivers. He loves Justin Herbert. I just feel when I look at this roster with the steps that, and Herbert is a great example of hitting a projection right out of college.
Yes.
Because it wasn't like Justin Herbert at Oregon and they won a bunch of championships.
No.
There were some flaws in his game, but you saw all the tools and they saw his ability to take the next step when he's gotten to the NFL, and he has done nothing but have success. Now, he's got to get to the playoffs. I get it. Some people say, oh, you're putting the cart before the horse. They have to make the playoffs and not lose to the Raiders in the season finale to not make it. I think Justin Herbert's the type of guy now with these veteran players, with an offensive line that's good enough, with guys outside that have shown you to have the propensity to make the big play in big situations with Keenan Allen, big-bodied Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, who we know is going to kind of get taken care of a little bit more this year. They have an elite offense. I really think they do. It was about the defense catching up. We know Brandon Staley. We know his system. He's a guy that's willing to take chances. I think he's going to have his imprint more on this defense. I think you're going to see this defense take a huge step. They don't need it to be a top 5 defense in the NFL to win. They need a top 12 defense, 15 to 12. Be good enough on the edges to threaten you in the pass game, which they will, because in this division, in football in general, but in this division, it's going to come down to who's the best on the edge on the line of scrimmage. That's what it's going to come down to. Yeah. Why do you think the Chiefs retooled the whole offensive line? Why do you think the Chargers signed Khalil Mack? You know, you make these moves when you realize you actually have the pieces in place, and I think it is not only a good bang for your buck to buy the Chargers to win the Super Bowl, but I legitimately think they have the best roster overall in the NFL.
I like the Chargers, man. You've been calling this for a while. You kind of sold me on them a little bit. Like you said, Justin Herbert was not an elite quarterback at Oregon, but he has become an elite quarterback in the NFL, which just proves if you continue your development, you know, that anything is really possible on the different levels of football. But there's so much more than Justin Herbert. All the names that you just mentioned, I mean, Keenan Allen's been around for a while. Austin Eckler's going to catch a lot of balls out of the backfield. I hope at least. I took him, number 1 in one of my drafts that I had. So that could be exciting. And the defense, like you said, the defense is great. Now, Blaine, you have the Bills, right?
Yes, correct.
So I have the Bills too, but why don't you break down the Bills so I'll get to a sleeper team?
Well, you know, what has been the Bills' problem last year? What is holding them back? You go back to the Chiefs game, one of the problem was overtime rules were terrible. And the second one, their defense was terrible. All right, what did they do? They added Von Miller, the guy who just floats around the NFL and goes winning Super Bowls. They beefed up a little on the offensive line. I mean, you draft James Cook. I mean, and your defense only got better. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to you're going to have to beat one of these teams. You're going to be the Chiefs, the Packers, the 4 or 5 teams, the Rams that you're going to have to get through late in playoffs. You can say the same thing for the Chargers. I love the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert really might be a dark horse for MVP. I mean, the kid's only gotten better and better, but he has to make certain throws late in games, and their defense has to play better. I mean, you lose 35-32 to a Raiders team in the playoffs that you were better than, in my opinion. So they could get over the hump, but I just think I think this is Josh Allen's year. I think they're going to have a little bit better roster than the Chiefs after losing Tyreek Hill, and it's going to come down to how far can your quarterback really take you. So I'm going to put my eggs in one basket, and that's going to be the basket of Josh Allen.
Yeah, and they're plus 550 right now.
That's what I was going to ask you. I think the Chargers last time I saw it plus 1,600.
Right now, plus 1,400.
1,400. I thought I saw
on DraftKings.
Who do you like? Who's kind of a sleeper?
So how about another team from LA? How about the Rams? You know, because they won the Super Bowl last year, we haven't been talking about them a lot. But, I mean, look, they re-signed Aaron Donald, right? Got another big piece back. We're talking about Matthew Stafford's elbow hurt. When has this guy not been in pain throwing for 4,000 yards in a season? Like, he's going to be fine. You return the Triple Crown winner at wide receiver. Like, I don't understand why, not as many people are talking about the Rams to be able to repeat this season. Let's see what those odds are. 1 second. Plus 1,200 on that.
Well, too, I think maybe the Rams winning it is another kind of feather you can put in the Chargers' cap. You just saw the team from the same city you're in win the Super Bowl. How much motivation does that give you after watching them do it? I think this is one of the years where, the Bengals made the run last year that surprised everybody to get to the Super Bowl. Now, the Chargers getting to the Super Bowl wouldn't nearly be as surprising as the Bengals making the Super Bowl last year. but I feel like this is a year where one of the teams on the periphery wins the Super Bowl. Not the repeat champs, the Rams, not even Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Big reason is because the Buccaneers have lost a lot on the offensive line, during camp. If that hadn't happened with Wirfs and those guys, I don't know if I would still be making this pick. I might still go with Tom because I don't like betting against Tom Brady or Nick Saban. Those are the two rules, right? Belichick, without Tom Brady, it's a little bit of a different flavor. But I just really feel, man, like we talk all the time, like my spidey senses, like Peter Parker, like I'm waking up.
You're
like
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I'm Tobey Maguire and super hard right now.
How about the Chiefs right now? I don't think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are done.
No. I don't think they're done either.
And that's plus 1,000 right now.
Yeah, I don't think they're done either. Now, obviously, talked about retooling the offensive line. You want to see that. Tyreek Hill leaving. I am not panicking as much as some people were. I think that was way overblown. Yes, Tyreek Hill was a huge piece for what the Chiefs did. Yes, he was a huge decoy out in the field even when he wasn't getting the ball. But let's not act like Juju Smith-Schuster is not a good player. If I was a Chiefs fan, I would much rather have a really good offensive line and have Tyreek Hill gone with Juju Smith-Schuster there than have the opposite. You have a lot better chance with Patrick Mahomes, who can make any receiver. There's not a lot of guys like Tyreek Hill running around, but he can make any receiver elevate their game enough to where you can win a Super Bowl. What the Chiefs need more than anything is a solid run game to have a little bit more semblance of balance for Andy Reid and them to be able to go back to some of the gadget stuff that they were able to just start killing people with in the playoffs that they saved in the regular season, because they know they could line up and run gap scheme and get 3rd and 2. They knew they could line up and run outside zone and it could hit. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a great zone runner.
Yep.
He's a really good zone runner, smaller guy. He understands the zone was built to cut back. So if I was a Chiefs fan, I think you upped your odds of winning the Super Bowl by improving that offensive line, even though you did lose Tyreek Hill.
I'll tell you a couple that really surprised me as far as the odds go right now. Packers plus 1,000. I mean, same odds as the Chiefs right now. I mean, I don't think they got better. Another one, 49ers.
That's how good Aaron is.
49, yeah, that is how good Aaron Rodgers is, and that defense is good. But still, I mean, the same odds to me as the Chiefs right now, or even worse odds or better odds than the Rams right now. Another one, 49ers plus 1,600 when your Chargers are at plus 1,400 right now. Yeah. I think when you see like the Eagles all the way down at plus 2,200, like that excites me more than the 49ers.
That's a sneaky. The Eagles are a little sneaky to me too. I just, again, you look at the pieces, a lot of it's riding on Jalen Hurts. But you got to feel good about the defense, especially with what they just added at corner, getting Gardner Johnson from the Saints. It just.
Speaking of the Saints, you want a sneaky one? Saints plus 4,000.
You think so?
Saints, yeah.
Jameis?
Go back to the Saints. One of the best defenses in the
Dennis Allen's
up front. Good. I mean, you get Michael Thomas back.
They have more offensive.
Jameis Winston, since he got LASIK surgery, has come in. I mean, what was he? 14-3 touchdown interception ratio. I mean, almost a 60% completion percentage. I mean, they have the tools. And it's not like Jameis. One thing to knock about Jameis is he makes mistakes at the worst time. Jameis threw way too many picks throughout his career, but last year looked a lot better. You have a defense to go deep in the playoffs. You've been known to be able to beat Tom Brady in the playoffs. So I think Saints plus 4,000. I mean, that's called a little sneaky pick. That's a little bang for your buck right there.
Okay. I don't think it's a bad one. What's the Booster Club say?
We got a $4.99 donation from Lincoln Mets.
What's up?
If Cone didn't go to an underperforming school like Michigan, hashtag go dogs, hashtag George Pickens, could he have won a natty at Georgia Southern for his hometown?
Could you? That's a good question.
Georgia Southern ran the triple option my entire life until like the year I was getting.
But so did you.
No, we ran the wishbone.
The wishbone.
Excuse me.
Okay, get it right, excuse me.
And if you're wondering what the difference is, in the wishbone, the running backs do the running. Not the triple option. But they switched to a passing offense about the year before I came out, and I had committed to Michigan. One of the coaches from Georgia Southern was like, "Hey, we're new staff here, and we want you to stay home and play for us." I was like, "Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I just committed to Michigan, actually." He goes, "All right, well, thanks a lot. Good talking to you."
Yeah, he's like, that seems pretty cool.
But bye. I thought about transferring to Georgia Southern. I mean, when I was thinking about transferring, it was like North Carolina, or should I go down to Georgia Southern was 1AA at that time. I mean, when you're in college, everyone's homesick. You're wanting to go home anyway. Sure. And plus, Georgia Southern will always have a special place in my heart because that's what paid the bills when we were growing up, man. Yeah. But anyway, I hope they win a lot of championships. That's why we need a group of 5 championship, Jake.
Look, I'm with you. Break away. Everybody can hold hands, but still break away. Thanks for the
Mike
donation.
RFF Lifestyle says, all right, hashtag Ask Crane & Company. Do you see the Bengals having a similar season like last year?
You're not big on them.
Okay. I want to preface this. Not that I'm not excited about the Bengals. Not that I wouldn't love to go up to Cincinnati, maybe have some Skyline chili, and let's talk about it. I just don't think the Bengals are sneaking up on anybody this year. Last year, a lot of things had to fall into place for the Bengals. Defense got hot during the playoffs.
Yep.
Defense got real hot during the playoffs, especially up front, kind of caught their groove. Jamar Chase and Burrow together, they went Professor X and Cerebro meets Wolverine. I mean, they're finding each other in the forest and stuff like that. We know what Jamar Chase is. Defenses know what Jamar Chase is. A big thing for the Bengals, Joe Mixon. All right, Joe Mixon's a hell of a back. Probably one of the most underrated backs in the league. I still don't trust that offensive line. I worry about the play calling in important times, especially after last year running the angle route to the backup running back on, 4th down in your life in the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Jamar Chase is running over there like a Disney princess on a mountaintop in a meadow wide open. And also, and again, I know they signed Jesse Bates back. That was a big sign for that secondary. I just don't trust the offensive line. And then Tyler Boyd, you have to have another receiver that steps up outside of Jamar Chase to take a little bit of pressure off of him.
T. Higgins.
I'm a big Tyler Boyd guy, big T. Higgins guy. They have the ability, but it goes back to the offensive line again to me. I don't think they're sneaking up on people the way they did last year. I don't think the defense performs consistently the way they did in the playoffs to be able to get to the Super Bowl, and they had to catch some breaks, which a lot of teams, have to catch some breaks. So I'm not as sold on the Bengals. Love Joe Burrow. King in the flesh. I'm with you, Blaine.
The winner.
Joey B for life.
Just a winner.
True winner. All right? True winner. I just don't think the Bengals go back to the Super Bowl this year, but they're not done with Super Bowl appearances with Joey.
The Bengals O-line will be better, though.
I know they'll be better.
Projected top half right now.
Yeah.
They're 15. I mean, projected top half. And again, man, some guys are just winners. Joey Burrow's a winner. And at plus 2,200 right now, again, I like the Bengals to win the Super Bowl more than the Cowboys at the same odds, more than the Ravens right now at plus 2,000, even though that's another one.
Yeah, I mean.
Ravens plus 2,000 is nice.
Now, again, with Lamar and Mark, I got to see what else they have on the outside. I got to see if, Bateman can be that big of a factor. But I want to go back to what we're saying about the offensive line. Yes, they can be improved, okay? But just because I go from long division to algebra doesn't mean I get into MIT. I think that the Bengals last year really, really got – Joe Burrow hit a lot of things, and I know Joe Burrow's back. But if they're going to let Joe Burrow get beat up the way that he did last year, I don't think he can consistently make it not only through the playoffs, but to the playoffs if he's having to do the things that he had to do last year. And it's not running and taking hits mainly. Joe Burrow's done a really good job of kind of protecting himself. Joe Burrow will hang in there in the pocket and take all the hits while making the throws. Those are the ones that, yes, they get a lot of respect from the teammates. Nothing used to get me more hype about our team as a defensive guy and a defensive coach than when I saw our quarterback stand in there and take a hit on a blitz and deliver the pill right where it needs to be. But that over time in the NFL, I just don't think that Joe Burrow can survive that way. And he's got so much dog in him, he's going to stay in there. I mean, they ought to be vaccinating this guy for kennel cough. He's got so much dog in him, Cone.
Kennel cough.
It's the truth.
Blaine?
For the fact that they made it to a Super Bowl with the offensive line being that bad.
I was talking about kennel cough. But
excuse me. Well, yeah, excuse me. It's remarkable in the first place. But yeah, I feel like they could have the same type of season. I mean, you still have the same pieces, and your worst pieces got better. You signed your best player on defense. It's not like, even if, they're not surprising people, it's still Jamar Chase. It's still Joey B. I mean, you have a top 5 back. T. Higgins is probably the best number 2 receiver probably in the NFL. Then you go to Taj Boyd. They might have C.J. Uzomah at tight end. I'm pretty sure if he's still there. So, I mean, they have the pieces. And at the end of the day, you have an absolute gamer at quarterback.
Yep.
And Joey B.
You do have
when
Joe
the
Burrow.
pressure's the highest, when the moment's the biggest, Joey B is going to make a play. I've never thought of Joey B never not being that guy. I mean, the guy's basically walking on water in Cincinnati. So I would never doubt the Bengals, and somewhat making the same type of run. But we had a question, I believe it was Dylan Meadows said, could the Eagles be the Bengals this year, like the Bengals went to the
Yeah, I think they win their division. I'm not sold on the Cowboys. I don't think there's anybody else in that division that's really going to make a run the way the Eagles could when you look at the pieces they have. I mean, what they've added opposite of Devonte Smith now, Jalen Hurts is a guy that I think just going to continue to get better. Is he an elite thrower? No, but I think he's just as good as a thrower in the long run as Ryan Tannehill is. But I don't think there's this huge difference between Jalen Hurts and some of these other quarterbacks when it comes down to throwing the ball. But I think Jalen has such a good let's really think about this. Okay, let's really think about this. And they're in the same division. How much better is Dak Prescott really than Jalen Hurts? How much better is Dak than Jalen Hurts? And I know I'm not the biggest Cowboys fan ever. Okay, I don't hold any animus toward them. You know, I don't think Jerry Jones does things the right way because he can't win unless he has a guy that is able to big boy him like Jimmy Johnson, former teammate of his, was able to tell him, no, Jerry, we're going to do this. But I'm telling you right now, where is the biggest, and I know we need a bigger sample size for Jalen Hurts, but when you look and project Jalen Hurts over the next 5 years, who's the best comp for Jalen Hurts? It's Dak Prescott. It's Dak. Think when Dak came in the league, right, from Mississippi State. Good thrower. You weren't sitting there saying Dak is an absolute elite thrower of the ball. He's the best thrower in college football. No, he threw well enough. He was big enough and was able to run well enough to be really effective and run smart and physical. The comp for Jalen Hurts is Dak Prescott.
I never thought Jalen Hurts would be a good NFL quarterback. I didn't think he threw the ball well enough at Alabama. It made sense when Tua came in that Tua took over that team and could really sling the football around. And almost every step of the way, Jalen Hurts either proves me wrong or at least, I mean, this is going to be the year. When you talk about a bigger sample size, we need a bigger sample size, and this is the year we need to really look at Jalen Hurts and say, does he throw the ball well enough to be able to lead a team to the Super Bowl the way Joe Burrow was last year if we're talking about Eagles-Bengals comparison. But I'm telling you what, you talk about winners and you talk about guys having that it factor. Jalen Hurts clearly has that. I mean, he left an impression on Nick Saban at that Alabama program. Not a lot of guys do that. Even when he went over to Oklahoma, he followed up Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, right? He went over there, he still put up big numbers. I'm starting to believe in Jalen Hurts more and more, and even apart from him, that Eagles team is stacked. The defense got a lot better, and I played 4 years with Brandon Graham. If he's the leader of that team and he's the most tenured guy on that team, I'm telling you, that's a guy you want to go to war with. I know he's a little bit older, but if he's the leader of the Eagles team, I believe in them.
Well, another Bama quarterback, too, that's got no excuses, because there's no excuses for Jalen Hurts this year with the roster they have. Tua Tagovailoa, another Alabama quarterback. There's no excuses anymore. You've got the guys up front, and I know the Dolphins don't have the best offensive line, but it's serviceable. It's damn sure serviceable, especially compared to what the Bengals had. You've got Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Mike, my hands are sticky, just sicky at tight end. You've got the weapons. Dolphins. Now you've just got to go out and do it. So I'm looking at the Eagles. I think they have a chance to do a lot of damage.
I think the Eagles would be a good sleeper pick. I mean, you just look at the roster and the way they drafted. The thing about Jalen Hurts, he's always gotten better. Jalen's always got better throughout the years, but he still has to throw me. He has to be an elite thrower of the ball if you're going to go deep into the playoffs and even win a Super Bowl, because you're not going to run your way to a Super Bowl. You're just not going to do it. You're just not going to do it. So I like the comp at Dak Prescott. I do think Dak's a better thrower, but I do think Jalen's a better runner. I feel like Jalen has more weapons around him right now. But, I mean, there's no excuses for Dak. I think there's probably a little bit more you could say, well, Jalen's still young. He's still grown a little bit. But there's no more excuses for the Cowboys. There's no more excuses for Dak Prescott. If you get in the playoffs and choke like you always do, then that is on y'all, and you deserve all the criticism that comes to you. I still think Jalen's growing as a player, progressionally, mentally. He still needs to recognize defenses a little bit better. But the Eagles right now, roster-wise, are in a great spot in the way they drafted Jordan Davis. I mean, Nakobe Dean. They're basically just getting Georgia players and Bama players and say, hey, let's see if we can go
Genius
win one.
strategy.
And that's a great recipe.
High IQ
I think
strategy.
the Eagles would be a great sleeper pick. I don't know what their odds were to win the Super Bowl.
2,200?
2,200. But yeah, so I mean, if Jalen can take that next step, throwing the ball and become more of a throw-first type of quarterback, I feel like the Eagles could run with realistically anybody.
Well, yeah, too, and we've also got to make note. You're starting to see the RPO really show itself in the NFL.
Yeah,
it really started with the Panthers. Like it's kind of making this wave through, because you know the theory is always don't run the quarterback, don't run the quarterback, don't run the quarterback. When you got a guy like Jalen Hurts, you can give the illusion of running or the decoy of running without running.
Squat
off the
600 pounds.
That's exactly right. How about I take 2 steps and then spit it out after I read the nickel?
I'll tell you what, one of the players I'm really fascinated to see the trajectory of his career while we're talking about Alabama guys on the Eagles is Devonte Smith. Does he end up being a good professional wide receiver, or does he end up doing what he did in college and being like, hey, I'm here, I'm that guy.
I think he's elite, Dave.
I'm going to be a top 3 wide receiver in this league year in and year out.
Quick feet, long arms.
I've said this. I'd take Devonte Smith over DK Metcalf.
I agree.
I'd probably take It'd be a close one with Devonte Smith. A.J. Brown would be close. I believe in Devonte Smith.
I'm taking Devonte.
That kid is different, man. You go back to college, that kid, you can't guard him one-on-one. He's long and fast, but one of the best hands I've ever seen, and he's a natural receiver, the reader of the ball, getting at the highest point, know where to put your body to catch it. I'm telling you, this kid, if he had a better thrower, if you put Devonte Smith on the Chiefs or on the Bills, I'm telling you, he'd be breaking records.
I'll raise you one. I think he's got 2 amazing hands when it comes to catching the ball. But speaking about amazing, let's go to 5 big questions.
5 big questions. College football, the new AP poll, which we're going to be breaking down with David Pollack, was revealed. The Florida Gators are up to number 12. Do you think the Gators will crack the top 10 this season?
I think they will. And you got number 20 Kentucky coming to your place. You're a 4.5-point favorite. That's a bet I'm probably going to take. I want to see if that line goes down a little more. I'll probably buy the alternate early Saturday morning, maybe get that underneath 3. Yes, I think
right now, what is that line?
I think it was 4.5 when I checked yesterday, Florida at home. I think not only will they be top 10, I think they'll be top 10 after this week. I think they beat Kentucky at home. Again, Kentucky, and I like Will Levis. I'll say it again. Losing Wan'Dale Robinson is way more important than anybody's talking about. I don't know. We talked about teams that lost players, and a lot of people are hiring Kentucky. I think Kentucky still have a good year. I'm big on Mark Stoops. Think he's the best coach in Lexington. But Wan'Dale Robinson fixed a lot of things. A lot of things. He was your outlet. He was your bailout. He was your security blanket. He can make your bad deep ball look like a good deep ball. He could take the underthrow and turn it into a touchdown, turn the slant into a touchdown, hurt you in the return game. Kentucky last week ended up pulling away from Miami, Ohio, because they had a pick 6 and a kickoff return for a touchdown. So don't let that game was tight. Choit. All right? Like Goldmember off Austin Powers. Choit like a toy guy. All right? So I think Florida will break the top 10. You see your boys at Michigan here moved up to number 4. I agreed with the moves in the AP. I think Notre Dame at 8 was the right move after the way they played against Ohio State, after that good showing. Oklahoma State at 11. We'll see. Utah underneath Florida. Makes sense. You just lost to them. But again, you look at Houston there. I wasn't really huge. I think Houston fell down a spot. That wasn't an easy game to go win at UTSA. I'm just telling you right now, coached in that place, they pumped so much noise in the Alamo Dome, you'd think there was 10 million people there, David.
They didn't look like a top 25 team those first 3 quarters, though, even though UTSA is good. And look, Houston won the game. So I think moving down only 1 spot and still cracking the top 25, Houston has to feel good about that. Like we broke down their schedule week before last. They have a tough schedule. So if they keep winning, no matter if it's by 1 point or not, they're going to stay up there. Yeah.
You see NC State dropping back to 18 as well. Wisconsin, I'm interested to see. Wisconsin doesn't return a lot of production.
You have with Wisconsin.
It's yes, but I want to see if Graham Mertz has maybe improved a little bit as a passer, because he couldn't throw a fit at a daycare last year. So it's interesting to see Wisconsin. I know we're going to get to Wake.
So let me ask you this: while we're talking about Florida, where'd you have Florida finishing? Did you have?
I think I had him finish.
Obviously, you have Georgia. You have Georgia and Tennessee.
I think I had him finishing 3rd in the
over
East.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Did you have that too?
I had Georgia. I had Georgia running the table in the SEC until they played Bama. I had Tennessee going 5-3. I had Florida going 4-4, and I had Kentucky, I think, going 4-4 as well and losing at Florida.
So you think Florida could finish 3rd in the East now?
Yeah.
For sure. Maybe even 2nd?
Yes. The thing with Anthony Richardson, yeah, if that dude keeps, I'm telling you right now, Hendon Hooker, really good player, really good quarterback. KJ Jefferson, I know he's in the West, really good quarterback. Spencer Rattler, we're going to see. There ain't no other Anthony Richardson in this conference.
You know who I said Georgia's only loss in the East would be?
Kentucky?
No.
Florida?
Remember?
Yeah, you did say that.
So
if there's one guy, I don't think they will.
This is a de facto home game every year for Florida.
Yeah.
Okay? It's down there in Jacksonville. First-year head coach. You're not supposed to win the game. Georgia's unbeatable. Things get weird in rivalries. I don't have to tell y'all about it.
Well, that's true. And Anthony Richardson, is a guy that can cause Georgia a lot of problems. Georgia just happens to have athletes.
Like, no, get out of here.
Pretty fast, too.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, Anthony, guess what? Surprise, this isn't Utah.
Yeah, not a lot of losing containment on that defense.
Yeah, that's exactly
But, I look at this, and the first thing that jumps out at me, Oregon's out of the top 25.
Should be
after the absolute slacking.
So? Should be.
Wait, hold on. Look at this team here, though, from let's say 17 to 20. You don't think Oregon can squeeze in there somewhere? the way Wisconsin.
Maybe,
Oregon can't beat Wisconsin right now.
I don't know. I've got to see Wisconsin run the ball.
That'll be a physical
Michigan
game.
State at 14 didn't play great.
No, that is true. I don't think
that's
Michigan
high.
State's the 14th best team in the nation. I don't think A&M is the sixth best. I don't think A&M should be a top 10 team. The real question is this. If Kentucky beats Florida, hell, where they jump to 7?
That's a good question.
I mean, Florida jumped like 26 spots.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
Wake Forest at 23 could be dangerous. You get Sam Hartman back.
Yeah,
right? So, I mean, that's a pretty good ranking for a 23 ranked team without their quarterback. Now you get him back. I mean, you got 18. I'm fine with NC State. Oklahoma State 11. Hashtag don't believe in it. I think Miami could be a top 10 team.
Yes.
I mean, there's certain things that I don't like. A&M. I think Florida might have jumped a little bit too much. I mean, you jump all the way from out of the top 25 to 12 after beating a Pac-12 team, Utah. So, I mean...
Well, what happens when you just beat the number 7 team in the country in Utah? What happens now if you beat Kentucky, the number 20 team at home, and now you've beaten the number 7 team and the number 20 team? Who has a better resume to start the season? Preseason polls don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, preseason, that's why, like, when you make jumps like this after the first week, I'm fine with it because nobody really knows. Outside of Bama and Georgia and a little bit of Ohio State, nobody really knows anything about anything in the preseason polls. So if Florida's going to beat the number 7 team in the country and they go from receiving votes or just outside of receiving votes, jump into the 12 spot, when you're playing the number 20 team at home, I see what they're doing. They're looking forward because there's no way in hell you can look me in the eyes with who Michigan State plays the first 2 games and let Florida beat number 7 Utah and the number 20 Kentucky at home and say, well, Florida shouldn't jump Michigan State.
Kentucky wins, where should they be ranked?
If Kentucky wins...
Yep.
I mean, I'd put top 15 for
top
sure.
Top 15, and you move Florida out of the top 15.
Yeah.
Or right there, one under them, just like they just did with Florida.
You can't take that Utah. If you're going to leave Notre Dame at number 8, I know they played Ohio State. I know it was on the road. But if you're going to leave an 0-1 Notre Dame team at number 8, you better put Florida in the top 15 after beating the number 7 team in the country, or the math doesn't add up. Now, the math can never totally add up in these polls. That's why it's fun to talk about them. But anytime you see a huge jump after the first preseason poll, after technically week 1, that's when you're going to see it. I mean, that's just part of it.
Is there a team that y'all have out there that's not in that top 25 that should be?
I think there's a couple. Mississippi State, after I watched them play, now I know Memphis isn't the best ever, but they treated Memphis like FCS East. That's a team that I wasn't super high on. I want to continue to see them play as well. We'll see with Mississippi State. Going around the rest of the country, Fresno State's another team that I think should be in the top 25. I'll continue to say that. I'm just, look, I get the Ole Miss love, okay, from what they did with Matt Corral and them last year. But I watched them. Jackson Dart's still going to be the guy, but it did not look as flowing against Troy as it did, which is what you'd expect. Wisconsin, we still think they're an unknown. NC State at 18. I know East Carolina, in-state, everybody's excited, big game. I'm just, again, I'm really snuffleupagus on these guys. Until I see you do it, I don't believe in you anymore.
Yeah,
which I didn't really believe in them like everybody else, at the start who had them going to the damn college football playoff.
Purdue with a tough loss at home against Penn State. Got to get them.
Yeah, where's Penn State?
My only thing is, I would probably find a way to squeeze Oregon in there somewhere. I know that loss was really bad, but again, we're saying that Georgia's a world beater, right? Mm-hmm. So we're saying that they would have beaten anyone like that. I mean, Michigan was the number 3 team in the country last year. Georgia beat them almost as bad. I just think Oregon still beats a few of the teams on this list.
Yeah, I do think Oregon, I'm not surprised they were out of the top 25. I do think they should have been in between probably 20 and 25, somewhere around there.
Okay, well, the next one, let's talk about Sam Hartman. Looks like he is cleared to play quarterback for Wake Forest after we thought he may miss the season. It was blood clots, something with blood clots there, Jake, but seems like he may play. I mean, does this change things for Clemson just handing the ACC to them?
It's obviously huge for Wake. That Vandy spread jumped the minute Sam Hartman's name. They said he was going to play. First of all, regardless, I'm just very happy for Sam, a guy that has earned it, a guy that deserves it. Yep. Regardless of how it goes, the opportunity for him to be able to compete after having this unexpected thing, which I'm glad they found. It was a blood clot. I'm trying to remember the syndrome it was called or whatever it was that they've got it handled. So excited that he's able to compete. It's good for college football. It's great for him. And it's great for Wake Forest. Now, for the rest of the SEC, Wake Forest becomes as dangerous as what you thought they would be coming into the year. So I had Clemson going undefeated in the ACC after it was said that Sam Hartman was going to be out indefinitely. I thought he may come back halfway through the year. They played Clemson somewhat early. After watching Cade Klubnik, I think this, again, just goes back to prove what I said yesterday. Cade Klubnik will end up being the quarterback at Clemson after DJ goes in there a couple drives and screws it up against Wake Forest, and then it turns into a Sam Hartman, Cade Klubnik battle a little bit back and forth, but Clemson's defense is so elite. I know Sam Hartman's really good. I know they run that delayed zone read with him, with what Clausen does. I still think Clemson goes to Wake and wins this game. I think it's a coming out party for Cade Klubnik. I think the defense is good enough. I'm just happy Sam Hartman's able to play.
First of all, the ACC is wide open. To me, it's wide open. I don't think a lot of people talk about Pitt either. Pitt's going to be a problem. Against
you believe in Slovis that much after what you said to him?
Well, I mean, that was with Luganville, and everyone thought Slovis was just walking on water. I was like, well, the dude was regressed in his third year at USC, and I really wasn't impressed with him that much in the pick against West Virginia. I mean, he had some good plays, but there's a couple plays where his clock was way too long. He really didn't look that good in the pocket. But Pittsburgh's a good team. They're good up front. Their defensive line is good. Secondary solid. Got a good running game. The thing with Clemson is this, man, is how long can that defense hold up? How long throughout this season? One, Brian Breesy's an absolute animal, but he got injury-prone last year. The D-line, a lot of people got hurt last year. And bringing Sam Hartman back to Wake Forest completely changes things to me. To me, it's really a fight between him and Devin Leary on who the best quarterbacks in the ACC are. And
what, Tyler Van Dyke's not even
I'd say he's third. I would say he's third. I mean, I still think he's a little bit to prove. I mean, he had good last year, but we'll see more this year. I mean, but bringing Sam Hartman back will change things for Wake Forest dramatically. But it comes down against Clemson is can you hold up front? So Clemson is a top-tier defense. They are built like Bama. They're built like Georgia. But at what point does DJ mess this up for Clemson? At what point, what game will it be? Will it be Wake? What game will DJ and Cade will have to come in and somewhat save the day? But Sam Hartman coming back is really good. One, for the ACC. One, it makes it more wide open than it was before. And two, I don't believe in DJ enough to really just give Clemson this championship. I don't, because if a certain couple guys get hurt on Clemson's defense, then everything changes. Everything.
Well, we've seen this with Dabo. We've seen him bring these quarterbacks along slowly, and then all of a sudden they burst on the scene, and he lets them take over. We saw it with Trevor Lawrence. We've seen this before. We saw it with Deshaun Watson. I think it's a matter of time before we see it with Klubnik, because you want to talk about a slow clock. I mean, DJ looked like he was reading Pythagorean's papers while he was back there in the first game, and they were running very simple stuff conceptually on offense.
All right, let's move to Major League Baseball, really the minor leagues. The majority of minor league baseball players turned in their union authorization cards, paving the way for MLB PA membership. This is good for the game, right?
I think it's good for the game. You can look at it politically. Do you believe in unionization? Do you not? I'm not looking at it like that. To me, the minor leaguers, and if you know, and look, I get it, that they chose to play a game their whole life professionally, but these guys got drafted. Like these guys aren't walk-ons. Like this isn't something where they're just, running out of the coal mine and going to play ball for the Savannah Bananas, at night. They got drafted. And if you look at how these guys have to live, I mean, being a part of a professional organization, they need to be part of the MLBPA. That they are players of Major League Baseball. Yeah, you may be in single A, maybe double A, maybe triple A, but you got selected by that team or selected by the team and traded to that team. The transportation's horrible. You're having to live 6, 7, 8 guys to an apartment. It's not the way that it should be with the way Major League Baseball makes money, because they still make money. People can say what they want about getting more eyes on it and working the star power, maybe decreasing the regular season. They're still making money, all right? They need to be treated better. They should have always been part of the MLBPA. This, to me, shouldn't even be like a unionizing. This should be just them being part of the MLBPA, because that's what they should be.
Yeah.
You're on the practice squad in the NFL, guess what? You're still represented.
Yeah.
It's the same thing to me. This should have happened a long time ago, because the way minor leaguers are treated is absolute garbage. And people will say, oh, well, they chose to play a game with their life. Okay, well, a lot of you chose to be an accountant. Well, does that mean that the people, the accountant company that you work for should just treat you like trash? Like, it's not how it works. So I think that excuse sucks. I think this is good. It's good for the players. It's good for Major League Baseball, and it's been a long time coming.
Well, I'm not necessarily a pro-union guy. I think unions solve a lot of problems. Oftentimes they cause a lot of problems, but these are professional baseball players at the end of the day. I mean, it only makes sense that they have this representation, especially when, it is on the teams and it is on the league to be able to handle a lot of the basic needs, the transit, this is what we talked about with the PGA Tour, right? And you've seen a lot of the changes that the PGA Tour has now made in response to these guys defecting to live. And one of them was guaranteed minimum salaries if you don't make a number of cuts. Essentially, that was what I said in the Get Off My Lawn, which was TV rights revenue split.
Very
right?
true.
So there's an element of that in this too.
No, and again, I've got buddies that played in it for a while. I got a couple that still do that have almost cracked through. If you could hear the stories of how it goes down with some of these guys, it's absolutely amazing, and it would shock you. It would shock you to your core in a lot of cases. And I mean, speaking of that, I do want to give an update. The Rays are now 4.5 back of the Yankees. After the Yankees, I believe, is a game and a half up on the Twins. We obviously know the Astros are looking like they're going to win that division. The Braves and Mets are tied for the lead in the NL East.
Really?
Matter of time. Matter of time. Let's finish it. We caught them, put them in the rear view. Well, they lost to the Pirates last night. Meanwhile, we snuck one out against the A's, got Spencer Strider on the mind, ready to come up and shove.
Yes. All right, next one. Back to the NFL. The Chicago Bears have designed this new dome stadium. Is giving up the home field advantage provided by the winter elements, in late in the season, is that worth having a state-of-the-art facility where you can host Super Bowls and host Final Fours and things like that?
Well, a couple things. One, selfishly, as a person that would go to a game, I don't like cold weather. So I personally, as a fan, if I went to watch the Bears play, would like it warmer, indoors, stuff like that. But you are losing an element of home field advantage. What makes Lambeau so dangerous the later you go on in the year? You have to go up there and play. It's different. The elements are different. You can use it to your advantage. You try and get every advantage possible when you're playing at that high of a level. So having that cold weather, having that snow, making teams have to adjust that maybe have played in a dome all year or play down south or out on the West Coast the whole year, that is a legit advantage. Number two, I think Chicago would be smarter to build a dome to protect its own citizens because the crime rate and the murder rate's so terrible at that place. You'd almost need a dome to protect yourself to walk to work. I think they've got a lot more problems and could probably allocate funds to a better place than building a dome for the football team. Well, they play at Soldier Field. You must almost have to be a soldier to walk down the street in Chicago, the way that place has been so terribly run. I wish they'd take some of that money, fix the homeless problem. I wish they'd take some of that money and fix the crime problem. Maybe you pay cops more. Maybe you put more cops on the payroll. I feel like Chicago is so ass backwards when it comes to priorities right now. Hell, the dome, like I said, could probably be used for protection.
Why don't you just draft better? I mean, dome's awesome. Why don't you just draft better? No, there's certain things and there's certain places like where I like the outside, just the scenic. You think of the Bears, cold weather, snowing, Bills Mafia, breaking tables outside, snowing. You have to be a certain type of guy to go to a football game when it's 15 degrees outside.
Yes.
You really do. And you look back, and that's what you remember about this. I mean, and same thing with the Packers. So I'm not a big, let's just get a dome guy, but at the end of the day, it's all about money. That's what it's about. You want a Super Bowl to come to Chicago, all this and all that. But there's a lot of other things the Bears should be worried about that you brought up than building a dome or not. One, let's draft better. Two, please do something about the crime wave that's rampant in Chicago. And can we get some offensive linemen to protect Justin Fields, please?
Well, I heard somebody say the other day, at least back in the day with the mob in Chicago, it was organized crime.
Are we going away from outdoor stadiums completely?
I think,
will we look back in 10 years and every NFL team has a dome stadium?
It's just like the same argument of, will every team have turf, in the future? Are we losing the natural grass route because turf is easier to manage over time? You have to brush it. You don't have to cut it up and roll it up and go get something new or maintain it. Or, it doesn't slide as easily. I mean, I remember when we went to go up and play Tennessee and Neyland, even during walkthrough on Friday, I mean, our guys were just jogging through routes on air and pulling up chunks of grass that you could fit almost, 2.5 grown men feet in. So I think we are moving toward, because if you think that there's a couple arguments I'll make. I'll say, hey, well, it's more equal to play. It doesn't matter if it's equal to play. You're going on the road. It should be a disadvantage. Like, I hate that argument. But the biggest thing you'll see in professional sports in these major metropolitan cities, like Chicago, like Los Angeles, like Atlanta, like Philadelphia, is they're going to try and make it as attractive for Super Bowl,
That's the thing.
World Series, Olympics,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Major money-making, revenue-building, distributing events, sporting events, and even outside of that, they're going to try and make it as conducive and attractive to those people as possible. Does that mean giving up a home field advantage of it being colder in the playoffs when somebody comes up to your place? Well, hell, the way the Bears are going right now, they're not even going to make the playoffs. So maybe it's a moot argument until, like Blaine said, they draft better and give Justin Fields some weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, he's lonely out there.
Yeah,
It's
I
like a
think
dashboard
so many of
confessional
these owners
album.
are thinking about more than football, which, look, at the end of the day, they're business people, right?
True.
So if you're looking down at a $1.5 billion bill to build a new stadium you think your team needs, and it's $2.5 billion to go ahead and enclose it, and then you get to make a run at the Final Four coming there, or maybe the Super Bowl coming there, or a college football non-conference opening season, something like the Chick-fil-A kickoff does, you know? Like, a lot of these business guys are just thinking, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to spend all that money just to be trash on the field. So, I mean, that's great. But I still don't know, regardless if you build a dome or whatever you build, that anything's going to come to Chicago.
Yeah.
Why would you bring anything
I
to
wouldn't
Chicago
bring
right now with the
anything
crime
to
rate? Like,
Chicago.
as bad as it is in Chicago, there's no way. If it's a Super Bowl, Final Four, hell, I don't know what else, that I'm bringing anything to Chicago and putting people, especially student athletes, at risk to get ran up on
I'm not sending
by
my
some
guys.
crazy people out of the street.
I'm not sending my guys to Chicago.
All right, last one. We'll hit a little NBA here before we bring David Pollack in. Obviously, the Cavs traded for Donovan Mitchell, right? We didn't talk about that. And then the 76ers have now agreed to a new 2-year deal with Montrezl Harrell. So my question is, 76ers or Cavs next season in the East, who do you think has a better season?
I think you still got to go with the 76ers. I mean, yeah, the Cavs got Donovan Mitchell, but you see what they lost. They don't have Joel Embiid, Tybalt, the guys that the Sixers have around them that have the experience to not only get to the playoffs but make a move. I think Joel Embiid is obviously the X factor when you look at the Sixers, and then you have James Harden,
Your
as
guy.
well, who's lost some weight. He's throwing cakes off
Here we
yachts.
go.
I like
Throwing
where it's at
cakes
right
off
now.
yachts.
Look, I like the way Montrezl Harrell plays. That's the football in me. I think he's a rough and tough guy down low. When he was at Louisville, he was rough and tough. He isn't the biggest guy on the court. Plays a little bit, got a little Udonis Haslem in him.
Louisville.
To me. Little shout out Rick Pitino in the club. Y'all know what it is. But yeah, I think the Sixers are in a much better position than the Cavs. I'm glad Donovan got out of Utah with the Jazz. I think the Jazz did totally fleece the Cavs, though, in that trade when you really look at it with what they got. But I'll take the Sixers all day.
Yeah, I'd probably take the Sixers. It's got a better roster.
Joel Embiid.
I mean, Joel Embiid, you got Maxey, you got Harden. I mean, you have the guys to win for the 76ers, and I still think Donovan Mitchell still has to prove it, right, in the playoffs. I mean, he has to prove it in the playoffs, but they do have a lot of young talent out there in Cleveland. But
It's a good long-term move
Joel
by the Cavs,
Embiid,
but
Joel
short-term.
Embiid's the difference.
Yeah,
That's the difference. If you're that big and that good. I mean,
Dinosaur.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, we call Aaron Judge
T-Rex,
Reptar,
yeah.
but I mean,
Absolute
he is
T-Rex.
truly Reptar.
Which, speaking of which, we have a top play when you're ready.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. We'll do that.
Start
Then
top
at the
play
Mitchell
today.
Club, then bring in Pollack.
Just
Top play,
for
Aaron
you.
Judge home.
Just for you, Blaine.
Just because you all get tired.
Hey!
Yeah, whenever
Tired
we
of
bring
your
up,
complaining.
Yeah, whenever we bring up baseball stuff, it's the Braves. So Blaine, go ahead. You call this.
hey, yeah, this guy, he's going to pitch it, and this absolute dinosaur is going to hit it a long way. Whatever pitch, he's about to hang a pitch. I guarantee it's a slider. Run it, please.
Twins Yankees 2-2.
That's gone. You hung a slider.
Why?
You threw a slider right down the middle.
Yeah.
Right down the middle.
You hung a slider to one of the Nephilim.
I still don't know why they pitched to him.
I don't either.
I don't.
wouldn't.
If
What is
first
that,
base is
54?
open, oh please,
That's
sir.
54, fellas.
Give
That's
8 more.
54.
8 more.
Roger Maris was at 53 through this many
I'm
games.
telling you right now, Roger Maris was half his size and twice as drunk. So when I look at Aaron Judge, again, you want to talk about, and we can joke about right field at Yankee Stadium and how short it is. His home runs aren't cheapies, okay? Very rarely does Aaron Judge hit a cheapie. I mean, he's absolutely humongous. He's sent back in time to help save the Yankees and Aaron Boone, but he's going to break the record. He's going to break. How cool would it be at the end here with some of the races we have going on in the playoffs? If Aaron Judge breaks the regular season home run record in my eyes and beats Roger Maris, and Pujols hits over 700 home runs.
Man.
That'd be such a cool ending of the regular season for baseball. You really, put Pujols on the raft and send him off the right way. Shout out the Revenant. But Aaron Judge, right now on pace. I'm glad they're pitching to him, though.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're pitching to him. Let's let him break the record, B.
I'm all for it.
Y'all just better hope you better hang on to your jimmies over there in the AL East, because you guys are just the walls are caving in. Speaking of dashboard confessional,
hardest division of baseball.
I mean, you could say that.
No, it is.
You could say that.
No, it is.
You could.
It is. Be honest.
You could actually say that.
No. Look it up.
I don't disagree with that. Do I agree with it? Probably not. But I don't
you're probably
disagree with it.
You're probably
That's
right.
the truth. So I mean, just we'll see. This
Dodgers, Padres, Giants is
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
The Dodgers?
What did I say?
the Dodgers.
Is that when Toronto and the Blue Jays?
That's
come
when
together?
they just form one team and
that
get
the type
all
of
the
mega
players.
team?
Is that the type bird that told me Florida was going to win by 3? A Dodger?
That was what it was.
That may be what it is. Booster Club, blind.
I'm out here inventing species.
Okay, Austin C. Hashtag Ask Cranico. Question for Blaine. That's me. All right, I would say it's quarterback Hunter Deckers is a lefty. How much, if at all, does that affect a receiver? Well, to a certain extent, it does. One, the ball comes out different on a lefty. The spin is just different. Yeah, it's weird. It's just one of those things that it takes time to get used to. But if you practice enough, you go through enough, you run routes on air, you get to the point where everything looks the same. So it's not a huge deal, in my opinion, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. If you can put the ball where it needs to be, then it's the receiver's job to catch.
Catching punts off a left-footed punter, it also spins different. It falls the opposite way, which is a little bit weird.
All right, Texas Ed wants everybody to know that Vandy has more wins than Notre Dame.
And LSU.
Colin Gorham says, hashtag Ask Crane and Company, do the Vols get 40 and win by double digits?
Okay, I want to talk to Pollack about this. We're going to bring him in. We're obviously going to preview a huge week 2. This Tennessee-Pittsburgh game, to me, is very, very interesting. I'm talking about Harriet the Spy interesting to me, because we've got to remember, you can't really use last year. All right, you did have Kenny Pickett, you had Jordan Addison, but you had Mark Whipple as the OC, who, God bless his soul, is off to Nebraska now, trying to put together, that dying bird. So they went fast. There was a lot of improvising with Kenny Pickett outside of the pocket. Kenny Pickett, the witch of the East there. I am very intrigued to see. I love the under in this game, number one.
66.
Because Pittsburgh is going to slow it down. This is going to be a game of who can control tempo. You know what Tennessee is going to do? They're going to go out there. They're going to get the pit crew, the NASCAR crew ready. We're going to go out there and try and race it. I think they're going to be as fast as they've ever been. Pitt's going to try and slow it down with Slovis in them and keep Tennessee's offense off the field. Have a strong run game. Pitt's good up front. I was shocked to see this line at 7 for Tennessee. I think this is going to be more of a low-scoring, physical game. I think Hendon Hooker's going to have to do it on the ground. I love what I saw from Brew McCoy, Tennessee's offensive line. We got to see it against this Pittsburgh defensive line. But this battle of different paces, I love this. When you have one, Pitt doesn't go at an extremely slow pace, so I don't want people to think I'm saying that it's totally on the opposite end of the spectrum of Tennessee. But Tennessee goes super fast. Pittsburgh definitely has a governor on the offense. They want to go the speed limit. They want to save money on their car insurance by having the thing that you put in and downloading the app in their car. Tennessee is the Dukes of Hazzard. They're trying to outrun the cops everywhere, be the first person there. If you're not 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late.
This will be a great non-conference win for Tennessee. What's that line right now?
It was 7 last time I saw it. It's 6.5 now. I'm telling you right now, the over-under's at 66.5. I think Tennessee's got enough depth on defense where Pittsburgh's going to try and grind it out a little bit, and I don't want to jump ahead of myself too much, but it's very hard for me. If that thing goes up to 67, I've got 2 sharps already. Texas State minus 13 against FI Pew. Ooh, yuck. They barely beat Bryant. How do you almost barely beat one guy with a football team? And then my second one, the second sharp that I had out there was Alabama minus 18.5, and 20 minutes later it jumped up to 19.5 in what's going to be called the ass beating of a lifetime in Austin this weekend. It's so interesting to me. I think obviously Tennessee can win.
I'm not.
But you have 2 different
Tennessee
styles.
I'm not touching
Slovis.
the spread on this game.
I'm talking about the over-under.
I know. I'm not touching the spread. I don't know. I really don't know. I just want to see what Pittsburgh's defense like after a lot of tempo, if they really can hang in there, and what's Tennessee like up front on defense, because Pittsburgh wants to run the ball.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is at best when they're running the ball in that play action game is working. That's where Slovis at its best. He has time in the pocket. I don't see how Pittsburgh offensive line holds up, but I do like the under in this game. 66.5 is a lot of points.
Is it 66.5 now?
66.5.
Oh, I thought you said it was a 66. It was a 65.5 yesterday.
But, I mean, if I can can do a lock on the show right now, you can get an alternative total for the Iowa State game at 45.5. Take the under. Take the under, because I still think the Iowa was a North Dakota State game.
No, not North Dakota State. It was North Dakota.
North Dakota might have brought back, like, they hurt football. Might have brought, like, regress football for 100.
Well, no. So Nebraska played North Dakota. Iowa played South Dakota State. Mm-hmm. That's who they played.
So but the Tennessee game, I want to sit here and act like give you my best analysis of the Tennessee-Pittsburgh game, but you really don't know until that ball snapped. Like, you really don't know. You know what you'll get out of Hendon Hooker. You go to quarterback, I'll take Hendon over Slovis. I'd probably take the receivers for Tennessee over Pitt receivers. But the Pittsburgh defense, and I know they kind of gave up some points to West Virginia, but JT Daniels was getting bombed on every play. Just hit, but still making throws. All right, JT looked pretty good that game. So we'll see. I think it'll come down to quarterback play.
Yeah, West Virginia minus 13 against Kansas at home with the way that West Virginia looks. I thought they looked pretty good. I mean, Kansas has to be better with Leopold there, but it's really hard for me not to take West Virginia minus 13 or minus 13.
Yeah, and JT Daniels played good football. That interception at the end, that wasn't his fault.
You know, that's 7 drops that game.
Yeah.
7
That's
drops.
too many.
Yeah, 7.
How many years of eligibility you got?
Yeah.
Huh?
I tweeted. I was like, look.
Call the boy up.
Hey, look, I'm a JT fan. Well, put me in slot. What's up? Option routes. Let's go.
Slot?
We get 5 yards
You're
out
not
of
a true X?
Slot?
You're not a true X?
No, you're either
I can play anywhere. I can play anywhere. Slot, X,
get out on the
Y. Hell, you can put me in Wildcat. Like, I can put my hand down, play a little tight end.
Whoa. We're not trying to, like, gas you up here. We're saying you could go out and catch a lot of balls. You're not playing slot.
I don't need y'all to gas me up. I'll gas myself.
Guys, Debo Samuel.
I'll gas myself up.
Your brother's Debo Samuel.
I can play slot.
Wildcat, slot, yeah.
Who?
Hey, you would at least turn your head around.
Yeah, I can bet you I'll have my head around.
You had about as many catches as he did during that game.
Jeez Louise. All right, Steve the Pirate. Hashtag Ask Crane Company. Do we believe in Sean Clifford now? Says, I'm still not so sure.
I don't think he's consistent enough. I tell you, the backup that came in for Penn State.
Tree.
Cannon.
Looked like he was 13.
And looked really good, the backup did. But Sean Clifford, big drive on the last drive of the game, he's just up and down for me. He's just up and down. You look at him, he'll make one great decision. He's got a lot of Will Levis in him. He'll make one good decision, then make another decision. You're like, what in the hell were you thinking?
I like that comp because he's a gamer, man. Sean Clifford is a gamer. He's going to make big plays, but he's also going to make mistakes. Like a couple things we know. Is he going to win the Heisman? No. They're going to beat Michigan? Hopefully not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Other than that, he's going to make some plays. So, that's where you need the coaches to come in and put him in good situations.
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I don't think he is a championship player or a player that can win you 11 games this year if you're Penn State. I think he's going to make too many mistakes.
Hey, but if you're Penn State, you have to feel good about going into West Lafayette, picking up that win at night. You're 1-0, and you're already in the Big Ten.
Especially with the way it went down.
The way it went down, I mean, look, Purdue.
Penn State has a cornerback who's an absolute problem.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. He's number 6, first-round draft pick.
They always stay. They always
long, physical, fast. And Purdue kept trying to throw at him.
Well,
I was like, why?
Well, it's going to come down with Penn State and the offensive line is what it's going to come down to. That was their biggest, in my opinion, their biggest weakness last year. Now, Jahan Dotson made a bunch of big plays with Clifford giving him the ball. Parker Washington is another guy that I thought looked really good, that they really gassed up this offseason, that can do some things, has some witchy movement to him. I like Penn State. I still don't think they're going to have an absolute balling-out year because I think Sean Clifford's going to hand 2 games over when he shouldn't.
All right, M. Hutton. Okay, a couple things here. M. Hutton says, Blaine might have an overinflated sense of his abilities. He's a podcaster in his late 20s now. Okay, let me tell you this. All right.
Who said that?
M. Hutton. All right. Any fan, regardless of what it is, all right, any sports personality, broadcaster, hell, if you played in the league, let's go line up one-on-one and let's find out.
Well,
I guarantee, I don't care. I guarantee it. I guarantee. You will get roasted.
I love how you said you're in your late 20s and you're a pod. Yeah, most people are done playing sports by the time they're in their late 20s. Even professional players.
So they're saying you don't have it anymore?
Anybody can get it. Put some money on it. Put a little money where your mouth is. Anybody can get it. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you played in the league. Like, I don't care. Like, line up and let's find out.
So, all right, wait.
No, I'm not played in the league. You're not in the league anymore. Like anybody. If you really think you're about that, come here, hold my hand. Let me walk you down the walkway, and I'll show you what the real thing looks like.
We should have a day where fans come up and try and. So you're saying you play receiver, and
you can put me at DB too.
You're saying you'll play DB.
You can flip me around.
You're saying you'll play DB.
Flip me around.
You're in the slot.
How do you want me to play pass? You want me to play off? Like, I will literally tell you the route
think
before I
Pollack
run
would toast you.
Look, Pollack knows he can come get it too.
Wow.
A scooter won't save you, Pollack.
Wow. Disrespect our guest for
What do you want me to sit here and say? Paul's just going to absolutely.
Dave will like that.
Dave will like that.
Dave will like that.
Dave's a gamer, baby.
Dave's about that life.
But I'm not going to block David. I mean, that's for sure. I'm not going to line up, tackle him, block him. But I mean, in open space, I feel pretty good about my chances.
I like your confidence, man. I feed off your confidence.
Good. As your brother,
Yes.
I feel like I would have to bet on you to do that, but I
don't like that.
Publicly.
What do you mean you don't like that?
I want you to bet on me because you trust my skills.
I do trust your skills, but as your brother, I feel like I'm inclined.
Why are you smiling?
I'm just smiling, man. It's Wednesday, man. College football's back.
NFL's back.
I'm enjoying smiling. If you're on the audio, I'm smiling right now. Surprise, surprise. But I think we may have David Pollack ready to bring him on the show to talk a little more college football. Booster Club, get ready to ask some questions. There he is. You can catch him on College Game Day. Anything that's involved with college football and the television, our good friend, David Pollack. DP, what's up?
What up, fools?
Hey, man, it's good to see you. We got college football back. Before we get into anything, though, Blaine said if y'all lined up one-on-one wide receiver DB, he said...
Okay, first of all, don't let them...
All right, you say it
all
then.
right, David.
You say it then.
Okay, David, I got said on the show that, because I was... so we're talking about my abilities to go one-on-one, that I trust my abilities against anybody. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be a tackle and pass block against you. I don't want to sign an earthly death wish. But out in space, one-on-one, as a receiver, I like my skills in that
Blaine,
arena.
I like it, bro. Hey, bet on yourself, bro.
You damn right.
Okay, I told you he'd like it.
Damn right. Pollack gets it.
Pollack does get it.
Real recognized real, DP.
That's for sure. It's like Drake said.
Now we're going to have to hear about that the rest of the day.
It's like Drake said, it's real when you are who you thought you were.
Damn right.
But speaking about being who they thought we were, DP, great job on game day, by the way. Good call on some of the games. I do want to start out. Give me your one best thing from week one, really week two, but I'm not getting into that. And then your worst thing from week one, really week two, not getting into that.
Well, I think Georgia surprised me. So I think that was probably my biggest takeaway was, it was unreal. Like the offense in the way that, Monken year 3 as an OC, you could tell he was fully invested in what he was going to do and spreading it out and boots and using Stetson. And I think Stetson Bennett playing the way he did. Georgia's defense playing the way they did. It's not a surprise. Obviously, that was a huge takeaway. I think the worst was probably West Virginia or Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
That's the second loss to Old Dominion. That's very ungood, boys. That is not good. So that was a bad takeaway for the ACC and for West Virginia.
Yeah, well, if Old Dominion can do it to him, New Dominion's going to absolutely shred him. To me, Louisville was my most disappointing. Scott Satterfield, you talk about getting on the hot seat. Dino Babers trying to remove himself from the hot seat there at Syracuse with Sean Tucker. But staying on Georgia, DP, I was talking about this yesterday. After what I've seen, and I know it's 1 week, but you can tell a lot after 1 week just by watching guys move around. I thought Stetson played as loose as I've ever seen him. You're already the hero. This is the sequel, right? You're already Nicolas Cage. You found the treasure on the first one. Now we're just trying to add another wing to the house. But when I look at Georgia, I would rather play Georgia from last year than what I just saw week one. Because it's one thing to be super elite on one side of the ball and be good on the other. It's another thing to be elite on both sides of the ball, and it looks like Georgia can beat you, at least early, more ways this year than they could last year. What say you?
Well, I understand what you're saying. And I tell you what, the defense losing 5 first-round picks, they looked faster. I didn't say they looked better. Yeah. They looked faster. They looked a little bit more athletic. Malachi Starks is going to be an absolute stud at safety in 3 years. We'll be talking probably as a first-round pick. So I think they have the potential to be that. They played Oregon, and let's be honest, I was wrong about Oregon. somebody else on the show was too, I know. But I was wrong about Oregon, and I was wrong about thinking that they could compete. Bo Nix really, really struggled offensively. They struggled defensively. The whole gamut struggled. So I think I'm more of a wait and see. Here's what I'll say about Ohio State, though. Ohio State, they're not going to play another team this year that runs that much stuff. When I watched the tape of Ohio State and Al Golden's defense at Notre Dame, bro, they ran everything under the sun. You have to have smart kids that can do that. You have to have a lot of time to prepare when you're going to be able to do that. Obviously, they had all offseason. But I'm talking about they threw every coverage in the book at C.J. Stroud in Ohio State, so they did not get comfortable. And they made you say, dude, you're going to pound me. You're going to run the football at me. We're going to give the numbers to the back end. We're going to make you stay patient and earn this. And to Ohio State's credit, they did late. And Mayan Williams was really, really good in that football game. But listen, I'm not jumping off Ohio State yet. I didn't learn enough about Michigan in that scrimmage they played against their teams. Obviously, now listen. Michigan, let's be honest, David, they got a lot of scrimmages this year. Good Lord. There's a lot of
he's not wrong.
There's a lot of we can play our starters and we don't have to play our starters in the second half. But I think it's interesting. Here's something that's crazy. I think there's 2 top 6 teams that their quarterbacks aren't settled yet. And I think that's Clemson. And I think that's Texas A&M.
That's where I was going.
I'll be interested to watch both of these situations, in the future.
No, it's a great point. I think Ohio State does have the cats, especially on the defense, to be able to compete. Clemson, I said yesterday, DP, that I think Cade Klubnik will come in and save Clemson against Wake Forest and will never not be the quarterback at Clemson again while he's there for 3 years. I think he has that type of ability. I do agree with you. I think it was kind of an oversimplification a little bit. When people were talking about what Notre Dame was doing on defense. Yes, they were playing too high and keeping everything in front, but they weren't giving them the same thing in the middle and on the outside. They were changing leverage. They were moving fronts. I thought what Al Golden and Marcus Freeman did from the front end, the middle layer, and the back end, keeping everything in front, and what they did on third down was absolutely magical. I think Al Golden was one of the sneakiest hires of the offseason, and we know how good Marcus Freeman is schematically.
David, I'm glad you brought up Texas A&M. That's where I want to go. Ranked 6 right now. We got a good look at Haynes King. I was surprised that Max Johnson didn't get any time. They're going to host App State and Chase Bryce this weekend. I mean, kind of a tricky game. What are your thoughts here? Is Texas A&M overranked, and will Haynes King be the starting quarterback this entire season?
Well, I mean, if you think about Texas A&M, first of all, it goes through H-Chain. This dude is the main focal point. He's the guy. He's the dude. They're going to feature him. So how do you work off of him is going to be the question. If Haynes King's athletic ability is used the right way, he'll absolutely be very, very, very good and have success. If Haynes King can make those plays where it's on the outside and it's go routes and it's pretty clearly defined and I can run the football, I think he's great. I'll be interested to see if he can take that next step, if he can attack the middle of the field comfortably. If that's a guy, if he can go through those progressions. I know Max Johnson can do that. I saw it, by the way. I saw Max do it at LSU. I saw him go through progressions. I saw him be tough as nails, dude. I saw him get decked and get right back up and not be afraid to not be afraid to throw in the face when somebody's blitzing at him and hitting him right in the grill. So I think that'll be very, very interesting. I think their defense is really, really good. Texas A&M. Listen, we talk about Kirby and we talk about Nick. Jimbo's starting to stack classics, okay? Now, here's what I'll say. I don't think the coaching is the same yet, and I don't think they've unleashed it like Georgia and like Alabama has. They still got a way to go to figure out how to unleash offensive potential. And, Jimbo's still got to do – I think Jimbo's got to do a better job together with his staff, with these guys continuing to be more explosive and be creative. But we'll see with Appalachian State, and then more important with Miami, because I think Miami will score points in week 3, and that'll be a heck of a ball game.
Yeah, well, you brought up Michigan, too, so let's go there. Look, I agree with you on the non-conference schedule. It's just too weak. Michigan fans deserve better. When I was there, we played Notre Dame every single year in the first 3 weeks. We need to bring that game back.
A lot of people are blaming you, Cone.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's my fault. Look, I have broad shoulders, David. I can take that blame, you know what I mean? But you can only play who you're scheduled. Colorado State, Michigan took care of business. J.J. McCarthy came in and electrified the big house, David. He's going to get his first start against Hawaii. Caden McNamara led Michigan to the playoff last year, 12-win season. Has he started his last game at Michigan?
Man, here's the deal. There's definitely workings going on at Michigan that we don't know about. But it's just like last year with JT Daniel and Stetson Bennett. Like, you're going to have people on the team, on the staff that say, I think this is the guy, Stetson Bennett. I think JT Daniel's the guy. You're going to have this among staff, among players. That's what happens. Who can feed me the rock? Who can make me look best? Wait a minute. That's my boy. Cade took me to the Final Four. Like, Cade took me to the Orange Bowl. Cade beat down Ohio State. So I think it's going to be interesting. I do not accept, as a coach or as a player or anything like that, I don't accept this is just the way we do it. So Jim Harbaugh mixing up the quarterback thing, I'm interested to watch it. I'm not going to judge it because I've never seen anybody do this before. You know, he's kind of taking the pressure off of them. What do we know? We know JJ's a better athlete. We saw him come in the game last year. We know he's got big-time ability. We know Cade is steady Eddie. We know Cade will deliver the football on time. Cade is smart. Cade is a gamer. He's a baller. He's not going to mess you up. I don't know that about JJ yet. We're going to find out. I know he can make more plays, but will he make more negative plays as well? So, listen, the unfortunate part, David, is what? We ain't going to see Michigan play a game for a while, okay? We're not going to see them play people that are actually going to matter. It's not going to matter this week for them either. Yeah, you don't want to find out late in East Lansing that you made the wrong decision.
Yeah, not against the green ones, as you say. Why do I get, like, with Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy, why do I get, like, the vibes of, like, the high school girl that, you know, there's the guy her parents wanted to date who's, like, president of the student council, like, really good, doesn't get in trouble, does charity work on the weekends. And then there's, like, the guy in the band who you never know, like, what the future holds. J.J. McCarthy just seems like the long-haired blonde kid who plays bass in the band who your dad doesn't want to hang out with, but you're just sneaking out in the middle of the night.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe I'm totally looking
totally, I agree.
That'll be on Jake's Analogy Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been asking.
Is everything all right?
I don't know. You
Are we good?
Me. Are you okay?
I don't know. I'm going to think about it. Why you ask this question?
All right, trust you. I'm going to go to the Bougie Club, but David, first, congratulations on looking Jack and Tan this morning. And two, God, Oregon's absolute trash, aren't they? Yeah. I feel bad for Dan Lanning. I know he's just, oh, God, should have never left. All right, let's go to Hutton. Question for the one and only David Pollack. How large is the separation between Bama and Georgia and the rest of college football, and does anyone else have a chance to win it all?
Yes, I think other people do have a chance. I'll be interested. There's two teams that I'm still very interested to continue to watch, and that's Ohio State. I don't think we've seen the best of them yet. I did see the best of their defense that I've seen in several years. I can say that with confidence. A lot more movement, post-snap movement, pre-snap confusion, not just, hey, dude, we're Ohio State. We're going to line up and beat you. We're better than you. So that should scare the Michigan fans a little bit, that their defense, I think, is a lot better than already right now than we saw it at most of the season last season, especially the way they finished. And listen, Clemson definitely did not play their A game. They did not. But if you look at that defensive front, good God. Now, listen, we all talked about Brussy and we all talked about Murphy, about being first-round picks this year. But I'm just watching, I'm going, who the freak is 33? Like, who's 5? Who's 0? Xavier Thomas didn't even play. So you saw Trent Simpson flying at linebacker. They can do some athletic things that are just great. So I'm not ready to write them off. I said before the season, and I'll stand by this, they're going to need Cade Klubnik. And listen, when he came in the game, it wasn't – to me, there was two things that happened. One, you could see the accuracy. He can throw the football where he wants to throw the football. That is a given. I watched that. Two, he's just got more juice. Yes. And when I say that, you watch him, it's like you could tell he ran a no-huddle offense in high school because bro was like, let's go. Let's go. Like up at the line of scrimmage, wanting to threaten you right now, wanting to get the football in his hands, wanting to make plays. You saw him get on the perimeter and throw the football. This offense, let's look at the deficiencies. Offensive line is a work in progress. It's got to get better. How do you make them better?
Mobile.
Somebody who can, yes, exactly, move the pocket. He can also run. DJ had two things in the offseason that I had to see. And listen, it's game one. Like, listen, can he fix things? Sure. Two things I had to see fixed. Upper body and lower body mechanics need to work together. He doesn't do a good job with that when he throws the football. And two, you cannot be the master of panic. When somebody gets near you, you cannot bring your eyes down. Listen, I get it. When you do that versus Georgia first game, everybody should have done it. He was getting hit left and right. It sucked. I'd have hated to have been him. I get that. You played Georgia Tech. You need to be able to sit in the pocket, move in the pocket with my eyes down the field to get guys. I saw a few tells about that I didn't think he had developed as much as he needed to make Clemson be a national championship contender, but they got some dudes.
Mm-hmm. Man, he's preaching that after he gets through that first read, even when people aren't around him, it looks like he panics. Mm-hmm. He looked so out of control after the first read wasn't there because it was unbelievably simple what Clemson was doing in the first half. You were getting all slants. You were getting smashed. You weren't getting these crazy combinations that you're going to have to be able to create separation against a Georgia, against an Ohio State. So that's what I'm interested to see. Blaine, one more.
All right, Ethan Williams, all right, hashtag AskDP. Was Kayshon Boutt's attitude on the field more of a result from the last regime, or has there been more dysfunction in LSU's current locker room than we've been led to believe?
That question.
Well, that's a good question, but the last regime, obviously, first of all, it's hard for a zebra to change his stripes, right? Like we get in one way and we start doing one way. It's hard to go the other direction. And listen, last year was toxic. I mean, it was awful. Like you had a ton of finger pointing. You had a ton of people leaving, quitting. Like it was hard to change. So Brian Kelly's not going to come in and go, "Oh man, we're all great teammates."
Yeah.
Like because we know what kind of athletes they're going to have at LSU. We know they're going to be great. We know they're going to have a chance to develop and be superstars at the next level. But it's going to take time to develop culture. It's got to take time to develop a we, not me attitude. It can't just be one day. There's a lot that has to change from that culture, from what it was. It will take time. So I think all the guys, they're not going to be there yet. You need something early in a regime, something really good to happen where I go, boom, I got this. I believe in this guy. Yeah. So LSU needs that moment. Coach Rick with us, we had the hobnail boot game. Like after that game, his first year, we were like, wait a minute. Okay, we just beat Tennessee. Like we can do this.
I believe.
So I think that they need that moment, and they'll get that moment at some point during the season. But the offensive line, oh boy, that was not pretty. The special teams, good Lord. I mean, that was atrocious. So there was a lot not to like about LSU week one.
Yeah, man. As a special teams guy, that one gave me the meat sweats, man. Watching that, like I was hurting for oh boy. But DP, we really appreciate you coming on, man. I know you're super busy, especially this time of year. Great job on game day, man. Can't wait to have you back on. Tell everybody what's up. And I got to come out and watch a game that you're coaching, man. I got to come out some Friday Night Lights.
North Oconee Titans, baby. Let's go. We're 2-0, baby.
Love the color.
Wow.
Played two good teams, and we're not 2-0 because of our offense, okay? We are 2-0 because of our defense, baby. Let's get weird.
I bet you got him running the hoop like a Hawaiian vacation,
he's doing everything.
my friend. Of course.
It's David Pollack.
Man. Putting on golf
the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah.
Golly.
He's probably a spy, too.
Now I'm fired up.
But, DP, we appreciate it, brother.
See you, dudes.
See ya. All right, we'd appreciate you as well knowing tonight at 7 Eastern, we have the first ever Daily Wire fantasy football draft. That's right. Shapiro's going to be there. Walsh is going to be asking, what is a draft? And then trying to figure out what that really means. Michael Knowles I've heard he's got some help. We'll see. The rumors are abound right now.
Something like that.
The rumors are abound right now. Andrew Clavin, John Bickley from Morning Wire. Very excited. Make sure you check that out on thedailywire.com. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Look, we're taking over the sports realm. It's just a matter of time. So either jump in or, like the Persian said, we find you.
Did they say that?
They did.
I thought that was the girl from Wedding Crashers to Vince Vaughn.
Same thing. She was Persian, right?
Was she Persian?
I think she was Persian.
What's a girl?
That question's already been asked.
What's a girl, David?
Yeah. Why don't you explain it to me, David?
Ask Matt on the draft.
Yeah, we will. So make sure you check that out tonight. Go to Daily Wire Plus 2. Become a member. All right. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all social media, TikTok, all that good stuff. Blaine, we have about 13 crucial minutes. It's actually a movie I watched the other day. Pretty good. Booster Club.
Let's get in the Booster Club. But first, I just noticed my bets aren't up there, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you got to turn them in, bud.
Yeah, I feel like
we have
one of those months you come to get me.
We have a text group. We have a text group. David, I come in here. David has already sent his in the morning. I'm looking at mine and send them in. We just need you to get with the program.
I don't know.
Get it in the routine.
Okay, Colin Gorham says, as a Pac-Man, I pray for the stars that DJ is still going to be the quarterback after October 1st.
Again, you're going to have to make such a huge jump. And look, Clemson, you can win 9-10 games with DJU because you're that talented on defense, but you don't want to waste an elite defense. This doesn't come around often. Yes, Clemson is typically pretty good, but a side of the ball like this, like it's what Pollack was talking about. With what you know, Xavier didn't even play. Watch Trenton Simpson and Barrett Carter, and those guys just fly around. It's like car crashes going left to right. It's like watching Mario Kart. You don't want to waste it. And DJU, he just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have it. And that's just, it is what it is. You know, maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe he just never had it at all.
All right, Rant says, Clemson's first half should have been easy money. DJ really blew it. Yeah, thank you. I know. I had him at 13.5.
So did Baby Cone.
Goodness gracious. You go give up a field goal at the Georgia Tech. All right, Carson Everett, hashtag Ask Cranico. Odds that Clavin shows up as Gandalf because he reads the fantasy draft wrong.
Minus 150, probably, going there. Those are good odds. Those are solid odds.
Okay, Colin Gorham wants to know, is Miami a playoff contender?
I think you could say contender. I don't think they're going to make it, but they got a chance being in the ACC. Tyler Van Dyke, the best Van Dyke since Dick. You got a chance to play Clemson probably twice. I got Miami going 8-1 in the ACC and playing in the conference championship game. You never know. I mean, look, it's a new day down there. I know Bethune-Cookman, you know, you can't really tell that much, but you scored 70 points. Mm-hmm. I like the weapons. We'll see.
Yeah, no, look.
Nothing would shock me in Miami.
Contender, let's go. Mario Cristobal.
All right, Cal Kennedy, what's up, Cal?
Yeah.
All right, he says, did y'all see Edo's interview yesterday about his exit from LSU? They told him you got a $17.1 million on your contract for your buyout. We're going to give it to you. You said, what time do you want me out by?
Yes, this is not hard for me. Number one, thank you. I'm going to tell you thank you. I hope your family, I wish nothing but great things on your family, your animals, your friends. What do I need to do? I'll clean the whole facility. What do y'all need me to do today? What can I do
17
to help
mil?
you guys? 17 mil?
Be down there with
17,
a toothbrush like Forrest Gump.
I do unforgivable things for $17 million.
Like what?
Just stuff.
You don't need to know.
You don't. Why,
you have 17 million.
I don't need to know, but I want to.
Why do you want to dive further into this?
Because I want to know what unforgivable things you do for $17 million.
How much is that right leg worth to you?
I
gave you half. If I gave you half, $8.5 million.
We talking
chop that right leg off.
Knee down.
No, I'm talking hip down.
Man.
Full prosthetic.
You won't be beating David Pollack in one-on-one routes.
But you'll be rich.
Like, am I
$8.5 million cash.
Am I put under when you do it? Like, I don't want to feel it.
I'm not gonna chop your leg off while you're awake.
I mean, for $8.5 million in today's economy.
Well, that's hey.
I mean,
inflation.
Would you stay awake? Like
for $8.5? No.
$8.5 million
For you to chop my leg off?
Yeah.
No.
But what about go under?
Yes.
Under anesthetic.
Yes. For $8.5 million. Yeah. I mean, I could build a robot leg. Will Smith did it like 10 years ago.
You have to spend a lot of that money on the robot leg.
I don't know. I feel like I get a sponsor.
You get a sponsor? What's Copperfit gonna get you a robot leg?
I don't know, Elon Musk.
Do they even do that? I'm gonna head over to the board of what just happened. I'm glad. I'm sad. I'm happy, and you're mad.
Hey, Colin Gorham says J-Boy will not lose fantasy to Senators.
No, I won't.
That's pretty good.
I will not. I will not.
Pretty good. Right, Highs wants to know, hey, Cone, you got one more year of eligibility, right? Want to go to a college that doesn't have stupid not counting stickers on the helmet? Oregon needs a better QB.
Oregon?
hey, y'all liking that Bo Nix? Y'all liking that? As a guy from Auburn, enjoy that.
Well, I'll gladly step in for him now that they've gotten the Georgia game out of the way.
For sure.
You know,
that's exactly right.
Glad he went ahead and took that one.
All right, one more, Blaine, and then I want to really break this down fundamentally.
Let me see.
By the way, go to dailywire.com, go to Originals, get some of the merch. The He's a Witch shirt. You already know. It's good stuff. Check it out.
All right, Emmanuel C. says, unpopular opinion. Fantasy football ruined the Heisman. Only offensive players are drafted with defense lumped into one category. Individual players are out of sight, and it seeps into people's minds.
I think, I blame Mad Dog for winning the Heisman. I don't know who y'all blame.
It happened before.
That's an interesting theory, Emmanuel C. Write a little white paper on it, send it in, connect a few dots. Let's tie the strings together with the pictures, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But speaking about tying strings with pictures, don't know where I was going with that. Was 1-1 last night. All right, would like to tell the Diamondbacks, actually Joe Musgrove from the Padres, who had a nerfie in that game, I'll never forgive you. I'm unbelievably ashamed of you, and I wish nothing but unhappiness today for you. Now, tomorrow's a new day, but we'll see. We did hit the other nerfie, so 1-1, keeping it steady, getting ready for NFL Thursday. Here's what I got tonight. Give me the Yankees, game 1, -1.5. All right, The Rays are pitching somebody I've never heard of in my life, which probably means he'll go out there and shove it for 8 innings and give up 2 hits. But I'm going to take a -1.5. Domingo Jermaine, please get up there and just do your job. Please, like Will Muschamp said, just somebody do their job. Then give me the Giants, Dodgers, Nerfy, -120, Kershaw, Alex Cobb. Love the matchup.
What is
Let's
it?
get to the second.
Dodgers.
Dodgers, Giants, Nerfy.
I love it.
Cone, what do you got in your book of truth?
Look, Spencer Strider set the Braves record with 16 Ks. He's on the mound tonight. How about I take him over 8.5 Ks at +120? Nice little underdog bet there. I like that. And then I also want the Mets and Pirates game 2 Nerfy. Those odds are not out yet, but the pitchers have been announced. DeGrom's on the mound, 1.98 ERA, might as well be your out.
Yeah.
And then I think Johan Oviedo's on the mound with 2.86. So those odds aren't out yet, but the pitchers have been announced, so that's what I want.
Well, you got DeGrom pitching, so there's 3 outs. There's a half inning you don't got to worry about. We'll see how Oviedo does in the other one.
All right, this is what I'm taking. Give me the Braves, A's, Nerfy at -148. Spencer Strider on the mound. I mean, just it comes down to Wall Dillachuck. Have a good inning.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so
your boy.
then I'm gonna take the White Sox, Mariners, Nerfy at -146.
That's who hit for me.
That one hit last night.
Well, what is it? What is it? The odds, Blaine?
For the second one.
Yeah,
-146.
you love to see it. All right, it's a tight race. Look, we got football now. It's going to be tight. Taking some big bets. Look, hardest week to bet to for college football is obviously week 1.
Week 1.
Because you haven't seen week 2. You can see how people adjust and stuff like that. But speaking about adjusting, we have 2 new Hall of Fame members. Our good friend, Tyson's right hook, made it. Welcome to Valhalla. And Katie Rose, 1191. So glad Katie finally got there.
You deserve it, Katie.
She deserves it. I love the prop bets that she takes. Congrats, guys. Keep going. 13-0 is the highest. Right? B. Cercio tied. Can't remember off the top of my head.
We had a 14-0.
Did we? I don't know. Well, look, I think Al Caramba was close too.
Yeah.
But Tyson's right hook is 10-0. Cody Nason, the graphic king, or the king of getting graphic, depending on how you know him, is 7-0. Cone's laser rocket arm is 7-0. Bracket Dom. Hope you got that Twitter unhacked. It's 5-0. Private Chonky's 4-0. Cam Fran's 4-0. Her Dizzle, sister of his Dizzle, is 3-0. Sammy V's 3-0. Shack Attack is 3-0. And Dinkin Flicka 27 is a very masculine 2-0. Very excited for him. All right, we got a little bit of time left. Poll.
Would you beat David Pollack one-on-one in a route?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
No.
Oh, man, I got excited.
What is it?
It's will the Chargers win the Super Bowl?
Ooh. I'm going to say the Booster Club said no, 58%.
No, 59%. Let's take the over.
No, 80%.
80%.
Who got the most?
A lot of Rams fans
A lot
in
of
there.
Bills.
A lot of Bills?
A lot of Bills.
Wow,
Rams
just take it
fans.
chalk then.
A lot of Bills, Chiefs.
Wow.
All right, Rad Highs, what's the punishment for the Daily Wire League? You will find out.
You will find out
tonight,
and believe me,
my
it's
friend.
totally worth
You will
it.
find
Make
out
sure you
tonight.
check that out tonight, 7 Eastern.
Colin Gorham says, hashtag tell Blaine and company. Blaine would put 10 out of the 17 million on a first quarter spread in a Mountain West game.
Yeah, you would.
Probably.
And hit.
Yeah,
and
you're
hit.
probably right.
That's exactly right. So give me Colorado State -3 first quarter.
Texas Ed says DeGrom is so good that his team can't hit when he pitches.
Dude, it's because it's a mental thing. Like it happens to Scherzer all the time. Like you're a hitter, you're like, all right, DeGrom's out there. God, let's just score a couple and we're good, right? You're not going up there thinking like, God, this
no
pitcher
runs
sucks. We really got
no run support.
It's like the inverse.
All right, Devin21, did y'all ever talk about Robbie Ashford throwing that block for Tank to get that touchdown? Dude is a competitor. Still think TJ deserves a chance, but I like that we have Ashford there as well.
Yeah, when it comes to throwing with Robbie Ashford, I'm way more worried about the balls and the blocks. Even though you love to see it, he went down there, hit a kid on the long tank touchdown, talked a little trash. Look, I think Auburn's best chance is Robbie Ashford. All right, you know who TJ is, okay? He's a statue that makes bad decisions sometimes. Robbie Ashford, how well does he throw it? We're gonna see. Do a nice deep ball, struggle a little bit in the short to intermediate game, but he's a guy that can extend drives on third down with his legs. He can threaten you with his legs. He's a lot more versatile than TJ Finley when TJ's not on a moped.
All right, Cody Nason 95, hashtag Ask Crane and Company. Which Daily Wire special guest do you expect the most out of the fantasy pool?
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sleeping on Shapiro. I'm not. I think Ben's the type to be like, hey, I don't really know what's going on, but I do know that Cooper Kupp averaged.
Well, he came on here and called the Warriors in 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Shapiro, I'm not getting sandbagged by Shapiro.
Don't bet against that guy.
Yeah, he's the guy that goes out the golf course. And he's like, yeah, man, I ain't played in 8 months. I'm just glad to be out here in nature. And they shoot 75.
Give me the 7-iron.
Yeah. He's like, wait, hey, he takes out a
That's
rangefinder
1.5
with his name imprinted on the side of it.
All right, Texas Ed, which was more important, LSU loss or Florida State win?
Ooh, Florida State win.
Yep.
Norvell needed that bad.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly's still got plenty of time, especially with what the hype with Mario in Miami, and then Billy Napier just beats Utah at Florida. Florida State needed some good news, and they got it.
That was the biggest win for Florida State in years.
Huge. Like I said, it hadn't had a winning regular season since 2016, which still feels weird that those words in that order are coming out of my mouth.
TJ from Iowa says, if anybody needs Cone behind center, it's definitely Iowa.
Iowa?
For sure.
I could play for Kirk Ferentz. Like, look, let's light it up a little bit. Maybe we get in shotgun, kick our knee up. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe you'd be playing for Brian Ferentz, and I would just really have to probably break you out. It'd be like a new episode of Prison Break.
Listen, Brian, I'm calling plays now.
You and Dr. Strange.
Okay, look, hey. Oh, yeah, here's the
Dr.
playbook,
Stranger.
right? Here's the
Right there.
playbook. Like,
read a
here's
few
what
excerpts from your playbook before we.
Oh, you need a couple.
I love
you need a couple excerpts from the playbook. Hold on.
Just read some. Let's
Let's
have some
just see.
story
Here
time
we go.
David.
Speed break Duke left whip 300 box Dragon X Lion.
Will never work.
Dragon X Lion. That's double slant to one side. We would call slam and then dunk, right? Slam to one side, double slant. Dunk with a flat route under the slant was very nice. How about this? Speed break Dan Liz Sting 300 box Y Space Lance X Thunder.
Wow.
What do you think about that? Is that one going to work?
Probably not.
These defensive guys, Blaine, they just don't think anything's going to work. Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, I have a parting thought here.
Go ahead.
The new pen that I got for my leather book,
Yeah.
made from a seat from Michigan Stadium.
Right? Oh, that is nice. Did Jalen Rose send that to you?
Jalen Rose did not send that to me.
This is actually made from a stadium.
Jalen Rose thinks I'm a clown.
So someone's ass has been on that pen?
At least the end of it. I think it's just the end. I think it's the end part.
Just the end part of it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
I don't know.
No, that is cool.
So, cool story that Blaine ruined.
Yeah.
And,
Wow. Blanket.
and
Like,
I
I'm
will.
used to doing that.
I will. I was gonna say I'll never forgive you, but I will forgive you because I'm a bigger man.
You said something the other day.
Well, technically, you are. You're
outrageous.
6'7".
What did I say?
You said something the other day that was just outrageous. I mean, you're questioning my skills today anyway, so like, what'd you expect?
First of all, you're a hero of mine.
You're a hero
I
of mine.
definitely think you're going to beat David Pollack one-on-one in a route. Are you kidding me? He played defensive line.
I think you should go start at Iowa right now.
Look, man, I
think that's
I
saying
might get a few throws in.
I'm down. We can go work in the parking lot.
Yeah. Spencer Petrus's QBR was like 1.7 better than mine was on Saturday.
I
was having to watch 3 dogs.
last night. Sometimes I scroll through YouTube before I go to bed, and they're like, "Yeah, it's like you want the Iowa highlights."
It's like 30
was all
seconds.
punts. It was all punts. The entire YouTube video was all punts. Yeah,
That's hilarious. All right, make sure you check out the fantasy draft tonight. It's going to be fantastic. Go to the Daily Wire, Daily Wire Plus, dailywire.com. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're growing like a weed. Shout out to the Booster Club, the greatest grassroots movement since, roots. And like the chances of the Rams repeating as Super Bowl champs, we're going, gone.